Yeah.
So then, how is the cash flow different to the different than the revenue?
Well, no, the revenue is sales. Your online business does $1 million a year in sales to SEO or Google Ads or whatever, okay? That's the top line. That's got nothing to do. You've got to reduce that by expenses. How much is your SEO costing? How much does your Google Ads, etc.? Subtract all that. Then your administrative costs and whatever other costs, okay? And then you come down to a net margin, okay, number. And then from that net margin, you pay taxes. And from that taxes, you have a number, and that's a bottom line. That's net income after taxes. Net income after taxes. Now, I won't say nobody online pays taxes. That'd be an exaggeration. But almost nobody online pays taxes. If that law changes, or when it changes, when they drop that shoe, that they tax you on worldwide income on the net, I mean, there's going to be, they say, tens of trillions that are going to be added to the various tax bases of the various countries. And then you're going to see, not everybody, but almost everybody is going to be domiciled with their online business in Malta, Mauritius, Andorra, Andorra is the country I couldn't think of yesterday. Yeah. And all these tax havens, the Channel Islands, but you know that's hard to govern because it's hard to track where it really comes from because of you can have all kinds of ways of hiding the addresses. I don't know how to do that, but I know that there are ways of hiding that shit. I'm told. Maybe they're all lying to me. Maybe there isn't a way of hiding, but I think there are ways of hiding where your signal's coming from or where you're online. And but that is going to be really hard to enforce. I don't think President Trump is going to touch that. Where he very may well, I hope he does away with inheritance stroke death tax. And once they do away with it in America, they're going to do away with it here. It's going to be the ripple effect. And for those of you that have your little 40,000 euros of life savings and that you're leaving to your mistress, or whoever you leave it to. And one of the things, and I say that slightly tongue-in-cheek, but I've had deals when you're buying companies, shareholdings, all of a sudden a mistress shows up that owns 6%, and they always come up at the close, right when you're signing your papers, at the close, and with their lawyers, plural, and they say they're knocking on the door, and how are we being compensated? We don't see our name, and the best time they come is pre-IPO. 4 or 5 days before the IPO, they show up. And they show up with the lawyers at normally let's say it's a Goldman Sachs deal or it's a JP Morgan deal. They'll show up at the investment bank's offices with their certificates. And of course, the guy, the poor fuck that's selling his business, I have no recollection. I never saw this bitch before. I mean, and normally when you sign these papers, you're there with your wife and your kids and everybody, and they know that. And they make her show, and she starts crying. What's really funny, it's not funny, is when they come and the girl's pregnant. Okay? And then the daughter looks at the dad, and then the wife walks out of the room crying, and like a fucking soap opera. Yeah. And I mean, and I've told you, I've had people drop dead signing the documents at the notary. Get half of their signature in. Okay? I've had them drop dead walking into the lawyer's offices to close the deal. And I'm telling you, I've seen it all. So when an emergency to Kim, the guy just died. And then I'll tell Kim, tell him he's dead. Are you sure he's dead? Well, then, can you get a pin in his hand to, But if he's dead, there's nothing I can do about it. He's dead. And they always die intestate, meaning without a fucking will. Always. Intestate. And then the kids that didn't want to be part of the succession plan, all of a sudden are interested. And so then they go to court, and it's in probate. And then, just let me know when it gets out of probate if you still want to sell. Next. Wow. It's not funny, but it is funny because all these things happen, and no textbooks that I'm aware of write about this stuff, and none of the schools, the big business schools, write about this stuff or teach anything remotely close to this. And as far as I know, none of the gurus are talking about it. And so, but when it happens, see, when you read about it in the newspaper, it's a statistic. When it happens to you, it's 100%. Right? Reading about all this shit, well, that poor bastard, a pregnant girl shows up, but when it happens to you, and it's 100%. And I find, not that I laugh when you come up with these challenges and problems, but I do laugh, and so just tell Kim, tell him that I can't help him. You should have got the deal done a week earlier or a month earlier.
I told the mistress.
Correct.
What rights would the mistress have?
No, she's got a stock certificate. And you can go to a Five and Dime and buy a stock certificate. You can go to a Five and they still have Five and Dimes, a little like stationery store, and get a quitclaim deed. Costs $1, 50 cents, 2 pounds.
You can just download one online.
Oh, well, okay, I didn't even. You can get him one online. Quick claim deed. Him giving the rights of 5% of everything I have.
Which may not hold up, but it'll stop the process.
Oh, it'll absolutely stop the process. There's no question. They know it probably won't hold up, but right then they got a gun to your head, and shit happens. And when shit happens, it's almost bad. I never found any good shit that happened. When shit happens, it's bad. And and ethnicities in India, they start fighting and scratching each other, and the women are pulling each other's hair. And Jesus, I wish I had a camera, to film that stuff back in those days. And and it happens. And it happens. And then the mentee, I wish I'd listened to that old bastard. He told me how to preclude this from happening. But because we're in a hurry for sure. But somebody's still got to cross the T's and dot the I's. And that's why the better the lawyer, the better the accountant, the more qualified the board, the higher the probability this stuff won't happen to you. And but it does happen for sure. For sure, and it's unfortunate. It transcends unfortunate because you've worked 6, 9, 12, 15, 17 months, and you kind of see your whole life pass before you. Your wife had told you should have given up 6 months ago and got a job. Your brothers and sisters won't loan you any more money. You maxed out all your credit cards, and it all just kind of flashes before you. And then who's my 6? 6:30. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
A couple of
Is this a house flipper?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, he understands this deal probably as good as anybody in the room because he's been doing it with houses. Again, it's house flipping, except it's businesses. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, a couple of nights ago you mentioned your reading list, how you get update on what's going on.
Yep.
I was just going to ask you to repeat those right now.
I read online, the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, I read. I don't subscribe to The Economist anymore, but I read the free stuff on The Economist. But I don't subscribe anymore. I read the New York Times. I also read. Just as an aside, I read National Geographic. It's got nothing to do with business because I like the pictures, you know. I also listen to BBC. Watch it on the screen, intermittent with Fox, intermittent with Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, which is the Arabic TV station, which really gives you a pretty even-handed of the news. It's not really pro-Middle East, but it's in the middle. Al Jazeera and and I occasionally watch CNN, but CNN is too left wing for me. The Clinton National Network.
Constant negative news.
Pardon?
It's constant negative news.
Yeah, constant negative. Okay, that's another way of putting it. And but I'm constantly, changing these around and watching them, and I can read the news, that's on the bottom of the screen, the words that go across the bottom of the screen, from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed. Although Sally and I watch one, except for during the seminar, we watch one program. We'll have a glass of wine and we watch one program, one movie or something on one of the TV stations from normally 11 to 12, and I go to bed at 12:30. But I get up in the middle of the night quite often and to do work just as Anelli suggested. I don't stand at the desk anymore. My artificial knees won't take that, but I used to. And other than you'll be sore with muscles you didn't even know you owned. So I stand at attention back when I was a young boot, and they make you stand at attention for upon hour, and you got muscles sore that you didn't know you owned. Well, it's not dissimilar as a standing desk. And now there's all kinds of online standing desks for sale, and it's become somewhat popular. But it makes you stay focused. It focuses, it's not just good for your body. It focuses your brain. And if you put a treadmill under it, I mean, you've got your hand-eye coordination, is got to be pretty good because you're. Although I type like this, but so it doesn't improve my typing too much. Going like this. Every once in a while, I can hit a key with my little finger just to show that I can use that finger, but normally it's just like this. There was a question.
What do you think about CNBC, Bloomberg financial shows?
On the weekends, Bloomberg has a program that's a summary of Bloomberg News on the weekends, which is very good. CNBC I also watch for the stock market updates. The benchmarks that I follow are the Dow, the FTSE 50 and 100, Dow Jones averages. I follow the price of gold. I laughingly follow Bitcoin, and interest rates, short-term versus long-term interest rates, and if we're going to have an inverted yield curve or whatever, and I follow that. I also follow property prices in the major metropolitan areas. For example, Mayfair is down 25-30%, New York is down 18-20%, Manhattan, and nobody's talking about it.
San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, I mean, they're all going in the shitter. Why? Because, the reason they're not talking about it is because then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if all the news was everything's going down, then people are going to sell more. But I mean, arguably, property prices since the early 90s have gone up in England, UK, so for 25 years, almost 30 years. And so nothing goes up forever. And if interest rates had a spike of 300, 400, 500 basis points, property prices would fucking crater. And and so those are the indices that I watch, and so I can keep abreast. Plus, because you guys are in so many different industries, I've got a pretty good knowledge of everything from A to Z, from the agricultural, mining, because the 100 plus of you are probably in 40 or 50 different industries, and then you're in subsets of those industries. So I follow those in the trends, but I also, not so much anymore because the interest rates are so low. I usually follow the velocity of money, which is a whole other thing which you don't need to understand, but I used to follow the velocity of money, how fast money moves. But now, with interest rates where they are, I mean, the velocity of money it's not as good a handle on the economy or the worldwide economy. And as I predicted, when oil was $120 a barrel, it was going south. And and one of the reasons I'm able to have a handle on all these things is because I'm pretty well versed. In fact, I'm very well versed on just about all aspects of the economy, and not just this economy, but the worldwide economy. And that's why I say if you're French and you speak French and you're black, you go to Haiti. One-way ticket, don't ever come back. You'll be a billionaire. Full stop, guarantee. If you were black, Haiti. For those of you that speak Portuguese.
And if she's white?
Well, you got to get a black partner. Yeah.
I won't do that.
Okay. Speaks Portuguese, Brazil. Okay. Because it's in the shits, and there's I went to Russia when the wall fell. I sent our youngest son to China, so I actually do what I say. And that kid that was asking those questions at the end is in Saudi. He's Arabic, and if you're Arabic and you're in Saudi, there's going to be a million billionaires made from Neom, the new $500 billion city of the future. Yeah.
Was he the PhD from the
Correct. He's the PhD. He's the one, that famous punch that's on my social media. That punch that he really didn't hit the guy, but he came close to hitting him. Okay, YouTube, thank you.